Top of the world, finish what you started. It's like, yeah, this music lives, and this is what Eddie left. Now, he also said that after 4 or 5 months of communicating back and forth with Eddie, suddenly he felt like he was being ghosted by Eddie, only to learn that the guy's health was rapidly declining, and he said one time he texted him, "Hey dude, what the fuck, you didn't give me any love." And Ed texted back, "Man, I've been in the hospital." And he was like, "Oh, fuck." And that was the last time he heard from him. And that was during an interview with Matt Pinfield, who's the guy formerly from MTV. He said, if Eddie would have passed without a reconciliation, I'd think about it forever. I would take it to my grave with me, and that would have been horrible. So glad he didn't have to take it to his grave with him, and I don't have to take it with mine, and that's a big deal to him. So I don't know, Dave, what do you think? Is it me or is Sammy talking about this a little too much? It seems like he's really on a campaign to let everybody know that he reconciled with Eddie and that he was planning to do a reunion tour. And it seems very, I don't know, a little self-serving. Here he discusses all these personal texts. Now, what do you think of this?
Well, Sam's always been a little bit self-serving.
Well, he's a lead singer, right?
Right. And I don't know. I mean, people are going to ask him about that. He'll always answer. He loves talking about it.
Loves it.
I mean, to be fair, he's celebrating the memory of Ed. But, yeah, he's always going to push, if he would have been alive, we would have done the reunion tour.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Yada, yada, yada. And, I always laugh when he throws out numbers that
are
like
my
10
God.
times the size.
Oh, yeah. Well, he discusses the wrong figures.
Come on, Sam.
Here's the funny thing. We sold 40 to 50 million some record. Okay. Now, Van Halen apparently sold something like 56.5 million in the States or something like that. And he thinks he's responsible for 40 to 50 of that? I mean, it's like he's unbelievable. He just likes to take credit for all of it. I don't know. But you know what he did do? And I'll give him credit for this. Van Halen made more money with Sam than they made with Dave in the first portion. Well, I'm not going to count the second one because they made a boatload when they toured with Dave as a reunion. But in the first 6 albums and the 4 albums of Sam, they made like quadruple what they made with Dave. So maybe he's talking about that because he's a dollar and cents guy. What do you think?
Is that true, or is that what we hear from
no,
Sam?
that's true. That's for sure true. That's not a joke. They made a lot of money with Sam because Ed Loeffler really knew how to take care of that band. So he got them paid, boy. That's for sure.
Then good for them.
That's right.
Awesome.
Well, Sammy, Dave, making even more money. This guy's always making money. So he just sold his French chateau in Lake Arrowhead. And oh boy, this is the one you were going to buy, Dave. And there's rumors that you might have bought it because it got down to the bargain price of $3.9 million. Everybody knows you're worth a lot more than that. So
yeah, I went to my petty cash fund and I bought the house.
Congratulations. And this was a getaway for Sam. And ready for this? He still owns homes in Mill Valley, Corte Madera, Desert Palm in California, Maui in Hawaii, and Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. So don't feel so bad for the red Altacaca there. In the Lake Arrowhead home, it was built in 2009, and it has a granite and limestone boulders cut and carved on the site, and it's got 6,557 square feet. It's located 80 miles from downtown Los Angeles. He bought it in 2009 for $2.3 million, so he made a nice $1 million plus on it for sure, and he had it as a vacation retreat for his family. Dave, 8 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms. Oh, you're going to have a field day, and it was listed originally for $5.2 million, and it sold for $3.19. So you got a real deal there, Dave. That's really something.
What a bargain.
What a buy. What a bargain, right? Unbelievable. So I can't believe this guy's got 5 other homes or whatever the hell it is. It's unbelievable. Must be nice to be Sammy, right?
I was just going to say that, yes.
Now, speaking of Sammy, he also is very charitable. In addition to being extremely wealthy, he loaned his voice to a cover of the Steve Miller song Fly Like an Eagle for the group of Afghan children musicians going by the name of Miraculous Love Kids and Girl with a Guitar. They recorded a cover of the Steve Miller's Fly Like an Eagle with Sammy and Nickelback's Chad Kroeger on vocals. And here's a clip.
I wanna fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I wanna fly like an eagle until I'm free.
And the Girls dedicated the recording to the memory of the near 100 Afghan girls who died in a bomb attack of a school in Kabul, and the last 11 years in the Middle East. Teaching guitar and organizing the nonprofit for these girls has been a big bonus, and Sam lent his voice there, and he left them a message saying, I'm proud of what you're doing, stay strong and fly like an eagle. And this was a nice thing that he did here. Sam's always been very charitable and giving of his time, money, and effort, so he's always the first to jump in and say yes. So you got to give him credit for that, right?
Yes, for sure. I mean, the guy does not shy away from charity.
That's true. So now Eddie Van Halen. Oh my God, Dave, they keep selling his stuff. They don't stop. His personally owned and driven custom 1934 Ford sedan, which is a hot rod car, and it's also the color red. And the car comes with a copy of Eddie's signed original State of California certificate of title and the transfer date, which was 6/26/91. And the lot also comes with a beautiful Fender guitar signed by the original Van Halen lineup: Eddie, Alex, David Lee Roth, Michael Anthony, with an Eddie Van Halen signed frame piece. The final bid, Dave, how much you think someone got it? Take a guess. The car and the guitar. What price you put on this?
$150,000.
Oh, you're close. $133,100. Also, another thing that they were selling was Eddie's stage played and signed Charvel EVH Art Series guitar. So now, this is a unique one because it's a striking yellow and black striped guitar, which Eddie played in concert for a specific night in Tacoma in 2012, made by Charvel EVH Art Series, and it was played on stage by Eddie, and it went up at the Iconic Auctions, and this was on the Different Kind of Truth Tour, and this is at the Tacoma Dome in Washington, May 5th, 2012. It's even dated by Eddie and signed by Eddie with the date. I think they have a photo of him playing it on stage, and it comes with a certificate of authenticity, and that's signed by Ed, and it's inspired by his original 1979 Bumblebee guitar. That's the one that was buried with Dimebag Darrell, and it also features a single humbucker pickup and master volume control labeled the Tone and a Floyd Rose tremolo bridge, and this was a collaboration between Charvel and Ed, and it resulted in this series. Take a guess what it was starting to bid at.
What it started to bid,
well,
or what?
The last time I checked, what the bid was at.
Oh, it's still live?
Well, it ended, but I don't have the final what it went for. But the last time I checked, take a guess.
I don't know, $25,000?
$13,310.
I wonder what it went for.
Unbelievable. I'm curious. We'll find that out, and we'll let everybody know. But that's interesting, right? I never knew why he buried that guitar with Dime. I always thought that was a waste. Nothing against Dime. It's just that, you put it in the ground, and that's the end of the guitar. I mean, it's just kind of weird.
Well, I guess Ed wasn't playing it anymore, and he wanted his friend to have it.
One thing to give it to a friend, but it's another thing to give it to him when he's not alive.
Well, that's Ed's choice, I guess.
That's Ed's choice. That's Ed's choice. So now Weezer is finally released their album Van Weezer, Dave, and this is dedicated to Eddie Van Halen. Came out on May 7th, and Dave, I bought the album, and I listened to it, and guess what it sounds like?
Sounds like Weezer.
It sounds like Weezer. And nothing against Weezer. I actually like Weezer very much, and I enjoyed the album. But this whole thing about it being heavily inspired by Van Halen and all these bands, I don't understand what he's talking about. It's just weird. Every now and then, you'll get a little snippet of Eddie tapping. It's not Eddie. It's just, his Eddie style of tapping. But the album sounds like Weezer, which is fine. I love Weezer, and it sounds like a good Weezer album. But it doesn't sound like this big bombastic rock record that they keep drumming it up to be. It's the strangest thing. They kept drumming this up. This is the big rock album. We're going to call it Van Weezer. Dave, Weezer recreated the Van Halen 1 album cover. Did you see this?
Yes, I did.
And they also recreated the 1982 merch with the Weezer logo instead of the Van Halen logo.
They are very big fans, for sure. But I guess they didn't stray from their original sound too much, which is fine. But I guess you could say that album influences them by Van Halen.
That's for sure.
They're not cloning or copying.
No. So that's that. They're going on tour this summer, but they dedicated the album to Eddie, and they felt bad that Eddie passed without even hearing the album, but I don't know if Eddie would connect with that album, but nothing against Weezer. And I like the album, I actually do, but it doesn't sound like anything even Van Halen inspired. But speaking of Van Halen inspired, Nancy Wilson from Heart put out her solo album, You and Me, and she actually has a song on there that she dedicated to Eddie. It's called For Edward. It's completely inspired by the first song he played for her on acoustic guitar. She gave Edward his first acoustic guitar. It's a closing track on her album, You and Me, and here's the clip. She had gifted Eddie an acoustic guitar. We talked about this before, and he played this song over the phone in the hotel in the middle of the night, and she thought it was so beautiful, so she created this piece that was similar, I guess, to what he had played her. It was inspired by that. It's her take on what he did. What did you think of this, Dave?
Thought it was a nice little tune. I hear some Van Halen songs in there.
Really?
When I hear her play. Yeah.
Like what?
Can't remember now because I only listened to it like once or twice. But
Okay.
If you listen to it, I definitely hear some Van Halen songs in there.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, also paying tribute to Eddie is George Lynch from Dokken and also Lynch Mob. He went out on a show that he was doing in Dallas at the International Guitar Festival, and he started playing an impromptu jam of Van Halen's Ain't Talking About Love. Here's a clip. Now, the jam was caught on video by a fan in attendance, and he uploaded it to YouTube, and he said right in the middle of this kind of cool, spontaneous jam, George was jamming and playing an improvised Van Halen classic, and it looks like he was having fun with it, and he was paying homage. You have to remember, George Lynch was a peer to Eddie because he was in that band, The Boys, and The Boys was his prior band to Dokken that Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley came down to see the night they went to see Van Halen, but they ended up trying to sign Van Halen instead of The Boys, but they were initially going there to see The Boys, but they got wowed by Van Halen in the process. So at the end of the performance, Lynch played some fiery licks and says, in remembrance of our fallen brother, one of the greatest inspirations of my personal guitar journey. So it was nice that he paid tribute to Ed. What did you think of that?
Very cool. Very cool. Like that George gives kudos to somebody he was on the scene with at the time. And, you know, George is no slouch on guitar himself, right?
No, he's amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that was cool.
Now, a new Eddie Van Halen book is coming out. Dave, they're coming out fast and furious. This author by the name of Paul Brannigan, who did the Dave Grohl book, This Is a Call, and he also did the Birth School Metallica Death book, and he also did the Into the Black book, Inside the Story Metallica from 1991 to 2014, and he's got a new one coming out in October called Eruption, and it's going to come out on the anniversary of Ed's death, and this is so weird because I had deja vu when putting this together, and Dave had sent me this piece of information because we talked about another book coming out at the same time called Eruption, and the photo on the cover, it's from the same photo session. It's black and white. I mean, it's hysterical, although the other one that we talked about is from the years of Eddie doing interviews with Guitar World. This one, I think, is definitely more of an overall biography biography. So it's going to kind of take you through Eddie's whole life. Whereas the other one, which I think is done by Brad Tolinski and Chris Gill, those are the guys from like Guitar World. They're going to have more of kind of the interviews culminating through the years. There's probably a lot more gear stuff in there as well. What do you think of that, Dave?
Like you said, they're coming fast and furious. It's so funny when I sent that to you, and you're like, wait a minute, isn't this the book we talked about already? Yeah. We had to do a double take. When the picture's similar and the title's the same, it's hard to keep track.
And it's coming out at the exact same time.
It's hysterical. Crazy. Yeah. Now, sad news here is former Montrose singer Robert Bob James, died, Dave, recently of stomach ulcer complications. Unfortunately, he's the guy who replaced Sammy